Here's a number that should stop you cold. Your brain weighs 3 pounds, about 2% of your body. But according to Harvard Health, it consumes 20% of every drop of blood your heart pumps. Every beat, all day long. Which means the most expensive organ you own runs entirely on a pipeline you barely think about. And after 50, that pipeline starts to narrow, quietly, invisibly, and years before any symptom shows up. The document is called Cardiac Contributions to Brain Health, and it ran in the journal Stroke. In plain English, here's what it says. 3 of the most common cardiovascular conditions in adults, heart failure, arterial fibrillation, and coronary heart disease, are directly linked to cognitive impairment and a higher risk of dementia. Your heart and your brain are not 2 separate systems that happen to share a body. They share the same blood vessels, the same enemies, the same damage mechanisms, and when one gets sick quietly, the other gets sick quietly right alongside it. If you're 50, 60, 65, understanding this changes everything. Because that memory slip you've been chalking up to age, that moment where you lose the word mid-sentence, that foggy feeling at the end of a long day. A lot of the time, that's not just normal aging running on autopilot. A lot of the time, it's cerebral circulation asking for help. And cerebral circulation, at the end of the day, is your heart's job. To understand why cardiologists and neurologists finally decided to start talking, you need one simple statistic. And in my opinion, it's one of the most important numbers in human biology. Your brain weighs about 3 pounds. That's roughly 2% of your body weight. But according to Harvard Health, it consumes 20% of every drop of blood your heart pumps. Every beat, every minute, all day long. Think about that. The hungriest organ in your body, in proportion, is your brain. And the only supplier of that fuel is your heart. No healthy heart, no well-fed brain. No well-fed brain, no sharp thinking. 2 sides of the same coin. Now, here's the part that has changed how modern medicine looks at aging. The risk factors that wreck your heart are the exact same risk factors that wreck your brain. High blood pressure, high LDL cholesterol, diabetes, chronic inflammation, a sedentary lifestyle, poor sleep, smoking, obesity. Every one of those, in large, well-designed studies, has been linked to higher risk of heart attack and higher risk of dementia. The same factors, the same mechanisms. The Lancet Commission on Dementia, in its 2024 update, identified 14 modifiable risk factors across the lifespan that drive dementia risk. And the headline finding stopped a lot of doctors in their tracks. Roughly 45% of dementia cases worldwide could, in theory, be prevented or delayed by treating those factors. Look at that list. High blood pressure, high LDL cholesterol, obesity, diabetes, physical inactivity, smoking. More than half of the items on that list are classic cardiovascular risk factors. And this is what doctors finally understood after decades of treating the heart and the brain in completely separate silos. When a cardiologist treats your high blood pressure, she's not just protecting your coronary arteries. She's protecting the tiny vessels that feed your memory, your focus, your balance. There's a technical name for what happens when those tiny vessels start to fail. The NIH calls it vascular contributions to cognitive impairment and dementia. In plain English, when the small blood vessels in the brain start breaking down because of cardiovascular disease, the result is a slow, silent cognitive decline. And it often gets mistaken for Alzheimer's. And here's the trial that probably moved the needle more than any other inside American medicine. In 2019, JAMA published a study called Sprint Mind. Researchers took thousands of patients with high blood pressure and split them into 2 groups. One group was treated to keep systolic blood pressure below 140, the old standard. The other group was treated more aggressively, with a target below 120. The result? The group on the more aggressive control showed a measurable drop in cases of mild cognitive impairment. That's the stage that usually comes before dementia. For the first time in history, a controlled clinical trial showed something remarkable. Treating one cardiovascular risk factor more aggressively protects the brain in a way you can actually measure. The good news, and there's always good news on this channel, is this. If the risk factors are shared, the protection is shared too. Taking care of your heart after 50 isn't a separate job from taking care of your brain. It is the same job. But there's one piece of this heart-brain connection that most people over 50 miss completely. And it's the piece that makes the biggest difference in real life. There's a specific window, usually between 50 and 65, where this connection starts showing itself for the very first time. And almost nobody recognizes the warning signs. I'll show you exactly what they look like in just a minute. Quick note before we move on. Every study and source I'm mentioning in this video is linked in the description below. The American Heart Association statement from 2024, the Sprint Mind trial in JAMA, the Lancet Commission report. If you want to read any of it yourself, it's all there. This channel doesn't run on invisible studies. It runs on papers you can pull up and check yourself. Now, this video isn't about specific dosages, supplements, or routines. This video is about mindset, about how you start looking at your own health starting today. So here are the 5 mindset shifts this new science demands from anyone over 50. First, stop thinking about heart health and brain health as two separate things. When you take care of your blood pressure, you're taking care of your memory. And when you're worried about your memory, you'd better be taking care of your blood pressure. It is one system. Second, blood pressure is probably the most important number you're not paying enough attention to. Not your cholesterol, not your blood sugar, your blood pressure. Sprint Mind showed this in black and white. If you're over 50, knowing your actual blood pressure, not estimated, not, I think it's fine, is priority number 1. Third, episodes of forgetfulness deserve a cardiovascular workup. When you go to the doctor about memory, the first thing they should check, alongside any neurological exam, is your heart. Fourth, what protects one system protects the other. Regular physical activity, good sleep, an anti-inflammatory diet, stress management. There's no separate brain exercise versus heart exercise. The intervention is the same. The good news? You don't need 2 routines. You need 1 routine done well. Fifth, prevention starts decades before symptoms. The vascular damage in the brain in most cases starts building up in the small blood vessels somewhere between ages 40 and 60. By the time the symptoms show up at 75, the process has been going on for 15 or 20 years. After 50, you still have a significant window to intervene. At 70, the window is still open. It's just smaller. Now, a few signs that are worth a conversation with your doctor. Not panic, just a conversation. Occasionally forgetting a name or where you left your keys is normal at any age. But if you're forgetting entire conversations, asking the same question 2 or 3 times in one day, or losing the thread on tasks you've done your whole adult life, that deserves a real evaluation. Same thing with palpitations that keep coming back, shortness of breath on small efforts, or episodes of dizziness with no clear reason. Any of those could be atrial fibrillation. And per the AHA's 2024 statement, atrial fibrillation is now formally linked to a higher risk of cognitive decline. Important, nothing in this video replaces a real conversation with your doctor. If you're on medication for blood pressure, for cholesterol, for an irregular heartbeat, please do not stop taking it on your own. Don't cut the dose on your own. Decisions about adjusting medication are decisions you make with your doctor. Always. And if your family has a strong history of stroke, heart attack before age 60, or early onset dementia, your cardiologist and your primary care doctor need that information. Genetics isn't destiny, but it is data. If there are 2 things to walk away with from this video, here they are. 1. After 50, the heart and the brain can't be thought about separately anymore. They share vessels, They share risks. They share protection. 2. Deep down, that's good news, because it means every single thing you do for your heart today, walking, controlling your blood pressure, sleeping better, eating well, is something you're doing for your brain at the same time. You don't need to double your effort. You need to understand that the effort is one effort. If this video made sense to you, consider subscribing. This is the first video in a whole series called The Brain-Heart Connection After 50. And in the upcoming episodes, we're going to break this connection down piece by piece. Blood pressure and memory, silent inflammation, sleep and cognitive function, exercise routines that protect both systems at the same time. The positioning of this channel is simple, always grounded in science, never in miracle promises. And every scientific source is linked in the description below, so you can verify everything for yourself. In the next video in the series, we're going to look specifically at why blood pressure is the single most important modifiable predictor of cognitive decline after 50, and what that means for how you should be tracking yours. I'll see you in the next one.